today the capsule would be in English with my friend Darren. It's going to be a bit different from what we do usually, so instead of having just one question from one people, I'm going to answer probably his question and I'm going to ask him questions. Mostly it's for him. It's just to show you that people here at SSP Barbell Club comes from different walks of life. They have regular life. So these people come to the gym, they train, they have a family, they own businesses. So when someone says, I don't have time, so this is for me bull crap, I don't buy into that because you have time. So I'm going to introduce my friend here, Darren. So Darren, hey, how are you?
Hey,
so Darren, you joined the gym about a year ago. And I remember that when you came first just to see the gym, just to make sure, because he comes from a CrossFit environment, and he changed. So what was your journey to come from the gym to here? What made you, I want to change, I want something different. So what made you come to SSP, basically?
Okay. I guess it all started, I had been doing CrossFit for quite some time, I think from the very beginning, when I think Camille Bazinet and her family opened up a gym. So I had been doing CrossFit for a while, but over a period of time, I think that takes a toll on your body. And there was a few other people that were training at the same CrossFit box that I was, who had made the transition and had come to your gym, and I was hearing a lot of good things, and especially about the evaluation and the biomechanics of your body, and maybe some injuries that I may have had that I wasn't quite aware of that may have been affecting some of my lifts, like my deadlift and my squat. So I was very curious. And then when I met you, you did your evaluation and you pointed out some things that were completely wrong in my structure. So, I kind of appreciated that. And it gave me a new outlook. It helped me realize that I needed to maybe, rehabilitate, as that rehabilitation program. So I think that's how I made the transition. It was more to take care of my body and just try and become as injury-free as possible.
I know that you own primarily one business, which is the extermination business, and the other one, which is the coffee. You're one of the most important importators for Invader Coffee in Quebec, and you have your own brand, Aaron Hammer. You guys, you shouldn't drink this. This is very good, by the way. We can make it tasted to you, but come to the gym, we're gonna make it tasted to you. Okay, so now you have these two businesses. You have a family, you have a little girl, you have a wife. Now, how do you cope with, because there's so many hours in a day. We have like 24 hours. We sleep basically on average of 6, so it leaves us to 18. So what are you doing with your 18 hours beside training? Because I know that you come here. So beside training, what do you do? Because extermination in the business is not like on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So how you cope with that?
The first thing is I do work a lot. People will see me hanging out in the gym, and sometimes they may ask themselves, was this guy ever work? And the thing is, a lot of times when most people are having supper or getting ready for bed, that's when my telephone is ringing and I'm out doing jobs and stuff like that. And that's one thing about having a business or even multiple businesses, is there's not really a 9-to-5 schedule. So it's sporadic. So it takes a lot of discipline, I think, in organizing your day. Like I'm up usually at 4:30 in the morning. I try and get my schedule organized. I do a lot of my reading early in the morning. I try and service my customers, and I start from 4:30, and I just schedule my day, and I do that on a weekly basis. And I always try to make room for my family, and I think that's a priority for me. That's why I left the 9-to-5 business and started my own business. Was basically to have more time for my family, and it sounds like there's a conflict there. I am very busy, but I do have a lot of time for my family. When my daughter, for example, will call sick or something, I don't have to ask permission to take some time off to pick her up, or if my wife wants to do some things, I could free up my schedule.
You mentioned that you love reading, and most people who listen to me know that I love reading, from army stuff to business stuff to whatever it is that I can read. Reading for me is key. It makes your brain evolve. It makes you evolve as a human being. So, what kind of reading are you into? Is it business or just like anything?
I'm a big history buff, so okay. I love anything from maybe some old World War II books. I like biographies as well. I'm very fascinated by the Old West and the cowboys and the Indians and the wars and the treaties. So I do read business books and stuff like that, but my taste it's very wide. Like when I walk into a bookstore, usually I go into the history section, and I love not just learning about, for example, the soldier, but I like learning from the general who implemented plans and stuff like that, and learning from those guys as well.
All right, for the people who are watching us and listening to us, let's say that you have to move to one island. And all right, you're fucked because they're telling you got to bring one book. So which book would you bring with you?
That's a tough question, and it sounds kind of cliche, but I think it would be the Bible. I think that's a book I'm always reading, type of thing, and I think that would be the foundation of everything.
I do read the Bible, as you know, and there's a lot of history in there. So talking about history is how this came up. The coffee idea. I know. All right, this is funny because when I remember Dom, he said, "Hey, I'm gonna bring a friend. He's gonna probably come, like you said." And I said, "All right." And he's a heavy coffee drinker. And I was like, "Okay, this is great." So I don't have any coffee machine here or anything. And I remember you bought one machine and you brought your coffee. That was funny. But what's the fascination with coffee for you? Is it like the taste or the buzz it's giving you, or I don't know?
Yeah, I think my love for coffee grew over time. I think originally I started taking coffee to kind of wake me up in the morning. And then, because of my schedule, I get to socialize a lot with people at the gym and family and stuff like that. And usually coffee was the drink of choice with my friends and stuff like that, and in the gym. And I started to appreciate different coffees, like we would start with Tim Hortons and McDonald's and Starbucks and stuff like that. And then I came across Invader Coffee down in Texas, and I tasted their coffee, and I love their coffee, actually. And I started to import it here in Quebec and to kind of resell it. And it's doing well. There's a lot of costs involved when you bring it across the border and stuff like that. And then I came up with the idea, hey, I think it would be very cool to develop my own taste, my own coffee, and have the beans cooked here in Montreal, so the coffee's always fresh. Create my own brand, something that stands, I think, maybe for more of the blue collar, the guy in the gym who likes that instead of pre-wad. I think I needed to come out with a coffee like that. And then I came up with Iron Hammer, and it's doing well.
It's a good brand. Now, one question that pops up to mind is, you're in business, I'm in business, a lot of you people who are listening are in business. What would be your advice from your point of view for the young generation, like the millennials that, seems like everyone hates them? So what would be the one advice or two, that you would give to these people in order to start their business who are having, running a business? What would be your advice?
Okay, my advice would probably, and this is my advice, is develop a plan and work very hard, harder than anybody to get it off the ground. And don't be scared or afraid when people say, there's a lot of competition in whatever field you choose, because that's not something to be afraid of. I believe honestly, when there's a lot of competition, I think that brings out the best in you, and it forces you to to bring out the best in you, and you'll start to realize your potential. And competition is very good. I think it's good, and it's not something to be afraid of.
I think from my point of view, for you listeners, let's say that you have a job, you work from 9 to 5. So your free time is from, let's say, 6 to 1 a.m. I think this is a given opportunity to win at the business game. Start doing something from 6 to midnight, or 6 to 9, whatever it is. I would say the same. Just work, you know. Don't expect that money is going to come free, because the more you work, the more it's going to come. Basically, that's what it is, you know. And putting up your coffee brand is very cool. We're putting up our clothing brand. By the way, the stores. By the way, when this capsule is going to air, probably the clothing is going to be out. So we're going to have a store here at the gym, or sspbarbellclub.com, so you can buy coffee from here. You can buy the t-shirts. The collection is going to be on the website, and we're selling barbecue sauce too. So from one of my partner's friend has a very very good barbecue sauce. I mean, it's outstanding. It's very good. So just, you know, work, and people are gonna say, oh yeah, you're lucky because your dad has money, your mom they were rich. I don't believe that.
No.
I believe in hard work. So now we're always asking, you know, what would be the thing that you have to do in business? All right. So now I'm going to reverse the question. What would be the one thing that you should never do in business, from your point of view?
Get complacent. I think once you become complacent, I think you die. Whether it be within your family, whether it be in your training, and in the business. I think you always need to push yourself a little bit. In terms of training, I would say push yourself always a little bit more. In the family, I'd always say give a little more time. And in business, I would say be a little more creative each time, and always just try and just never be complacent.
From my side, I would say stop bashing people.
Yeah.
You know, if they're winning at the business game, it's because they work and they don't probably go around bashing people. But actually, I love those haters. I really like them, and I embrace them. So all you haters that are listening to me right now, thumbs up to you guys, because it's free publicity for me. And I would go in the same. You know, if you sit on your laurels, nothing is going to happen. Yeah. You got to work days in, days out. Innovation, I think. Yeah. Innovation, but it is great. But one thing that you shouldn't do, and I see that a lot from my point of view in the gym business, would be copy people. Yeah. Do exactly what they do. Yeah. You know, all right, you're having coffee. People are gonna say you're copying, you know, what Invader is doing. No, you're not. You're building your own brand. So that would be it. Any last advice before we close to those listeners who would like to be in business or are in business? What would you say to them, like a last word of advice? Because remember, you're getting to your island with the Bible. That's it. So, you know, you're in the boat now and you're saying, hey, bye, guys, I'm leaving. Last advice, beside eating bacon.
Just never quit, and be a good person, and offer the best customer service there is in the world.
And for me, I would say, guys, you are the 5 people you hang with. So if you hang with dumb people, you'll get probably dumb. So on this, Darren, thank you. That was a pleasure to meet you again. And so you guys, if you got any questions for me or Darren, or you want to buy the coffee or the clothing, sspbarbellclub.com. We're going to take care of you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.